It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the document. That is a nice balancing act.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We are live.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. It's Taco Tuesday. Jeremy, you got to get old Chewy up there. When you get him up, give me a thumbs up because he can't have a Taco Tuesday without Chewy's support from Ensenada, Mexico. But we'll get that up soon. He's on the line. He's there right now. Chewy, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, that's my man, Chewy. I love you, man. I come in here sometime at 71. I'll be dragging a little bit. Chewy calls up, gives me his Chewy yell of exhortation.
And you know it's time.
And I'm ready to have at least a really good, solid 4 minutes of a great show. I'll start slow and then taper off, as Bob said. All right, we got so much happening out there. But what is happening in New York City? Well, right, New York.
No one saw this coming.
Well, no. Did you see they had a shark attack?
A shark attack?
A very rare shark attack on a beach in New York City, I think, today. We're getting kind of sketchy information. It's for real, sketchy information. We'll have more information as soon as DA Alvin Bragg could find a way to connect the shark attack to Donald Trump on January 6th. So that's coming. They say they have tape of the shark there January 6th with a MAGA hat on.
Are you going to have audio of this too?
This is real. It's up there. A shark attack in New York City.
Also, okay, got it.
And which is, they normally don't come in. Well, what smart shark would get even close to New York City unless you're just starving to death? So something's going on.
Global warming.
Global warming. Where would you go to New York? You got a lot of. Go to Australia.
Yeah.
Go to some place.
Stay over there.
Where they talk to you and treat you nice. New York City, man, that shark gets too close, they'll sucker punch you.
There's a lot of sharks in New York City.
If it's an old shark, they'll sucker punch him. If it's an old shark over 20, it's just swimming in the old water, minding its own business. It'll come up, sucker punch him, put the fist in the air.
Man, so true.
You just hope somebody's got a video. But yeah, that actually happened today. But before we get, dadgummit, I'm gonna bump the New York City youth mob because there's a lot in this I want to talk about.
Okay.
That just, I think, reflects so many ills that we have in society, so many obvious things that need to be addressed that have been kicked down the road in regards to our youth, that we are where we are today, which is not a good place in having healthy, respectful youth that, yes, question authority, but have no respect for authority. That didn't happen overnight, but I got some thoughts on that. I want to hear your thoughts. But now I'm just giving a little warning here. I'm really counting on you to, grab me, take hold of me, and stop me when I get too out of line. Because this story is probably going to trigger me.
Okay.
It's already triggered when I heard about it driving in. So I'm still in the early trigger phase. I haven't had a chance to absorb it, take the hand off, the thumb off the finger off the trigger a little bit, settle down, so I can calmly and intelligently discuss it. Because that's what we should do with these issues, even the ones that make us very passionate. But sometimes my brain and my heart get going. It's like, and I got to get back there, settle down, and discuss this issue. Happened local. Last night, I believe. A fellow named Johnny Tapia. Now, all of these things are alleged, but there's so much evidence that this fellow Tapia did what he is alleged to have done. But apparently this guy was already in custody for armed robbery here in Fresno. Now, this is what I don't understand about this story. He was in custody. It was Monday morning. Monday night. Okay. And the article still said he was in custody, so I'm still trying to figure this out. How can you be out roaming around if you're in custody? Mm-hmm. But we do know he was dealing with law enforcement officials on an armed robbery charge Monday morning. Monday night, this brilliant dude gets involved in an altercation with him, his girlfriend, and him both together on the same side. They wind up in a high-speed chase out by Brawley, which is kind of a little countrified version, still a city of Fresno, but on the edge. High speed up 75, 80 miles an hour. Gunfire, allegedly from Tapia to the other car. And an innocent 65-year-old woman who's out driving is hit by Tapia's car. It burst into flames. This woman, 65 years old, just out driving her car, is now gone. She's dead. This guy runs away from the scene. He shouldn't have been out on the street anyway. Armed robbery, and he is loose. This happens, and to make matters worse, if you think that's not bad enough, because, here I go again, like Reagan said to Carter, but dag nabbit, until something happens with our leadership here, I am going to keep calling this craziness out because it is life and death. Nothing from the mayor in terms of a press conference. I guess this does not rise to the importance that you have this guy who should be in custody, was out of custody for what reason? You don't have the police chief, Balderrama. You get a press release by the information director. A 65-year.
That's insulting.
That's insulting.
Talk to the PIO.
All right, you go with it. I'm starting. I need to back off. I'm going to let you have this now for a while because I'm going to say some stuff.
I'll take it over.
I'm going to take it over.
So this goes to, and I said this yesterday about the COVID Readly lab. I said there's some stuff where you just got to be upfront with the people. Even if you know you can't do anything, and it doesn't matter how many times you hit that mic saying the same thing, you go out there and you just be honest with the people. Even if you don't want to take any questions, you go out there and you send the mayor out, or you send the police chief at least give us the police chief and say, listen, this happened at 4 p.m. Our prayers go out to the family. This guy was out. He shouldn't have been out. And that's wrong. And we're going to continue to work and put pressure on the governor. And then, of course, there's going to be questions. Well, and you just say, hey, listen, it's an ongoing investigation. I can't take questions at this time. But at least you're putting a face on it. You're acknowledging it. The problem I think that a lot of the voters have and a lot of the public has is that the fact that government's not acknowledging any of this, which leads us to the obvious conclusion that they don't care or they're not going to do anything to change the status quo. And that's not what you send people to leadership for, is just to sit there and to rubber stamp everything that comes across to your desk. You want them to be active. You want them to be engaged. I know it's tough in Sacramento. I get it. I know the governor, and I don't know the governor personally. You know the governor. You know the way this state works. But just sitting there saying, well, and I see the county do this. I see the city do this. We really disagree with it, but there's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied. Our hands are tied. Well, try telling that to the family.
Exactly. And your hands are not tied. You just don't want to do what is necessary to change things. How do I know you can do something about it? We just laid to rest here in this community Mike Reynolds, the author of Three Strikes You're Out. Meaning a 20-time loser, was out, should not have been out. It's back in the early 90s when all the foolishness actually started, where the criminal had more rights than the victim. And it was pure chaos. Every major city was basically under siege with crime. And Kimber Reynolds, out here in the Tower District here in Fresno, was killed for her purse by this fellow, as I said, who had a rap sheet a mile long. Mm. Well, they killed the wrong guy's daughter because he says, I can't let this happen to anybody else. He proceeded to go through the steps that were necessary to put 3 strikes on the ballot. And it was a laborious process. He had to call local congressman, local assemblyman rather, and got his political allies together and got some other people that had children tragically killed by criminals. And they were able to get it done. And they really, I mean, it's incalculable how many lives 3 strikes have saved. I mean, it's just mathematically, it's proven with the institution of this law. When you put violent criminals away in prison, I'm sorry, yeah, they wind up killing each other in prison, but they don't kill law-abiding citizens anymore. And, you know, it's bad. It's a very simple equation. But when you let politics seep in and you start making decisions based on political repercussions, Mike didn't. He said, be damned with that. And he did what had to be done to change the law. He changed the law. And you have arguably one of the most persuasive mayors that this city's ever had, squandering that talent, basically willfully being silenced by a governor because of some grant money. See, there's no saying in government, local government, you live by the grant, you die by the grant. You got a lot of money, you can do a lot of schmoozing, you can get some grant money. Just ask Jim Costa.
But there's like $5 million in grants, Alan. We don't want to miss out. It's $5 million.
Right. Then what happens when you run a deficit like this state's running? You're $35 billion in the hole. When you're $32 trillion in the hole in the federal government, those grants start drying up. And it should never be a deal where you sell your soul for a grant anyway, under any circumstances. But then it's not even worth it that you don't get anything, because that was the deal. We'll give you the money. We'll put you front of the line, Jerry Dyer. Homelessness, I'm not going to let any other city have it, but you're ready to go. And downtown, you're ready to go. You got it teed up. There is no downtown less teed up, ready to go than Fresno, California.
Preach it.
I'm sorry. Guillermo, what's your thought? I mean, that's the old saying, the truth will set you free, but first it'll make you miserable. That's the miserable truth. It's not teed up. I mean, when you're talking about, well, first of all, we got to have some pipes in here so we can flush a toilet. That ain't teed up. That ain't ready to go.
Nothing's wrong.
That's several decades from having a downtown ready to go. But you make that deal and you take the $125 million, then it's gone, and you're saying, wait a minute, I just had an innocent citizen in my city killed by a 20-time loser who shouldn't be out, and we need to reform these 2 laws, AB 109 and Prop 47. I have the charisma, the background, for goodness sake. He was head of the National Police Chiefs Association. When I speak, people listen when you're talking about law and order. That's why the governor went out to silence you. Don't you get it, Mayor? You fell right. You were hooked like one of those big mouth bass out there at Millerton. He went fishing in Fresno and bagged the big one. And he's holding that trophy up in his office now, up on the wall. Jerry Dyer's face.
Yeah.
With fins. Because if you speak up now and start criticizing him, you've broken the deal. I mean, there's no other excuse. Why? Because this man, the mayor, was quick to have a press conference on anything close to this. He understood. And Guillermo, you brought it up at a point. There's a phrase out there that has been used by mostly minority and marginalized groups, and that I get. I get it, even though I don't always agree with it. Sometimes I think it can be exaggerated. I think it's very effective. And that phrase is, I just want to be seen. We just want to be seen. Do you see me? Do you see us? It seems like local government, state government, federal government, you don't see us in a poor neighborhood ravaged by crime. You don't see it. That's why I think the middle class, the hardworking blue-collar middle class who used to vote Democratic, automatically are now on the Republican side, because the Democratic leadership did not see them when they said, hey, look, we can't get corporate welfare that you're giving out. We make too much to get the food stamps and the welfare. and you keep coming back and taxing the living daylights out of us that I can't keep my small business open. I'm dying here. Do you see us? Do you see us? And that's what the people, as you said, Fresno's saying to the mayor. Do you see us? The family of this woman who just lost her life with this guy who should not have been out of custody. So I need to know why. Go ahead.
Oh, this is really going to trigger you. You're going to have to turn off Alan's mic.
Jeremy, you got a Xanax back there?
You want to know? You want to know what the latest press release was yesterday from the mayor's office?
Oh my gosh!
Ready? Mayor Dyer, this was yesterday, announced free public Wi-Fi. I was like, wow, free public Wi-Fi in the city of Fresno? No. Free public Wi-Fi on all Fresno area express buses.
I feel safer already.
Mayor Jerry Dyer is happy to announce that all fax buses are equipped with free Wi-Fi. Please join us for a news conference where city leaders will provide more details about the upgrade and the importance of keeping riders connected.
So there's no reason ever to not be able to log into a porn site.
While you're on the bus.
While you're on the bus. Everywhere. You can log into every...
Forget about keeping you safe. You can have internet access. So this...
Can...
Biden administration PR?
Can you go automatic 911 call through that little Wi-Fi?
You turn on Wi-Fi calling, you could.
You can.
Wi-Fi calling.
How long does that take when a guy's coming at you, a crazy guy with a knife or a gun?
Well, assuming they don't have like a guest portal where you got to log in as a guest or set up an account, then you'll have to wait for a little bit and then log on.
I got a better idea. How about keeping the Johnny Tappies of the world in jail? How about that?
Yeah.
How about keeping people who commit violent crime, put them in prison? How about that?
Yeah.
I think that works.
Yeah, there's no grants for that, Alan. There's no grants for
that works.
There's no grants for that. There's grants for broadband connectivity, and I bet you that's where they got the money for this Wi-Fi thing. But there's no grants to keep Tapia and individuals like him behind bars.
But man, gosh, Guillermo, folks, I'm sorry. I shake my head because I just hurt for this mayor who's just missing it completely. He's showing zero leadership. Yet he thinks he's, you fly a flag and you think that you become the savior of the gay community and the trans community, and you feel you can walk in any place and you'll be welcomed, and you just that slippery slope. And I have nothing against. I mean, I'm for the trans people, gay people. When they are a victim of discrimination, I will be there fighting side by side with you. There's absolutely have gay people in my family. I've known and worked with gay people. That's between them and God. Okay? The problem I have is when you decide you're going to, at a very early age, begin an indoctrination process with our young people about, hey, being trans, being having gender reassignment. No, gender reassignment to a 6-7-year-old. I mean, they make it sound like it's just a little homework assignment at school or a military deployment. We're going to have gender reassignment. No, that often means you're going to have drastic surgery of which you may involve mutilation, that you may never be able to live a normal life again when you change your mindset. I don't want to be that. Yeah. But anyway, I didn't mean to veer off of that, but it has to deal with leadership. When you just can't say no because you want to endear yourself to a certain segment through a symbolic gesture that means nothing in the long run in terms of helping folks. And then it transfers over to this lack of either understanding what is a big thing to people. This is a big thing when a 65-year-old individual just out driving at night gets killed by a crazy maniac who should be in jail. Because, I guarantee you, everybody in Fresno is seeing their own mother, grandmother, wife, aunt. That's who they're seeing. Wow, that could have been Aunt Martha. That could have been Mama. That could have been my sister. That could have been me. You don't get it. Sometimes every loss of life is tragic under any circumstances. But sometimes the circumstances are so egregious that sends such a shockwave across a community, like the Kimber Reynolds murder. And for me, maybe I'm alone out there, but this act of criminality that cost an innocent woman her life, taken by somebody who should be in jail. The only difference between this and Kimber Reynolds is Kimber Reynolds was like 19 and this woman was 65. That's the only difference I see. And that crime woke up a community. My goodness, will somebody please run against this mayor, at least make him explain these things? Because his strategy is just to clear the field of any competition. I was never, and again, I hate to compare, but I'm going to. I'm going to, because I believe so strongly in it. When I ran for mayor the second time, there was 4 people that ran. And I said, hallelujah, that's great. Most of them didn't give them a chance because we were doing pretty good. But I look forward to having the forums and the debates open so the people of Fresno could see and hear different sides to the story and hear criticism of me. Make me get up there and answer those questions and criticisms. I have nobody to run against. I run unopposed. You just go into the next term not being challenged on anything. That's Jerry Dyer's preferred method. He has a history of it. Anybody who opposes me, let me talk them out of going face to face with them in front of the people so the people can judge whether your idea is right or his idea is right. Now, I'm all for diplomacy. I'm all for talking things out.
Can I encourage?
But when you do it to suppress a robust discussion on policy, then that's not a good quality to have.
Can I say something for any individual out there wanting to maybe put their hat in the ring? Jerry hasn't raised a substantial amount of money. All right? He's got money. I'm not going to say he doesn't. But you've always had this saying since I met you, and I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. The river's a mile wide and an inch deep.
Yeah.
And I finally got it. I'm not too smart sometimes. But
it's an apt illustration.
But I got it. And Jerry, and this is what I've told you, and I think I said it yesterday, there's one vision for Fresno. He's literally got one vision. That is kind of the name of it. He's got one vision. There's only one vision that man has. We need another option. We need another vision. And hey, if the city of Fresno were to say, you know what, Guillermo, we don't like that other vision. I think we're going to stick with this one vision. Well, hey, you know what? Then you made a decision.
I agree with you 100%. But part of the reason he needs to be challenged, he needs to be made to articulate what his one vision means.
Did you have a challenge the second time you ran?
Yeah, I had 4 people running.
The second time?
Yes.
And I bet you that made you sharpen.
I had 9 the first time in the primary, and I loved it.
And you were outspent.
There were forums every. Oh God, outspent. I loved it. I told people, look, I don't worry about not being elected. I worry about going to bed the night before the election and worried that I didn't get my message out of where I wanted to lead Fresno. That I wish I would have had one more forum, one more debate. That was what kept me awake, not whether I was going to win or lose. I was the only mayor candidate, I think, in history that never asked anybody, either one-on-one or in a group, for their vote. All I asked them is, listen to me where I want to lead this city. Ask me the tough questions of how I want to get there. Just turn me inside out. Examine me inside out. And then after doing that, I ask you to do that, as I would ask you to do it to Dan Whitehurst, who we were running against, and the 8 other candidates. I'd ask you to do the same of them. Then you go in there and you vote for who your conscience tells you to vote for. I am fine with that. And in fact, if you say no to me, there's a big financial upside of me not being mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going from series to series to series,
Yeah.
But I felt the calling to do that, and I felt it was good for the community because they had never had that for decades. That kind of excitement in a campaign where people, you had great talented, Brett Field ran, a very articulate guy. You had Chris Matisse, not that talented, but had different perspectives.
He's different.
You had Sal, I think Dan Ronquillo.
Sal ran against you, Sal Quintero?
No, I don't think Sal did.
I think it was Dan.
I can't remember. All right, let's take a quick break. That break, we're going to. Yes, I did get triggered, but I'm glad I got triggered on that. If that doesn't trigger me, I don't. I'm going to start worrying a little bit about myself. This is Alan Autry, No Retreat, Taco Tuesday. We'll be right back.
Jeremy, you're going to need about 2 minutes to do that? Okay. I'll be be right back.
You got it. And Jeremy, we'll go with a little Jill Biden and a little Howard Dean. Yeah. Oh man. How much time we got left in the show, Jeremy?
About 35 minutes.
That was a long segment, yeah. Oh, folks, love you all, man. You know, we moved to the live Facebook to 11, as some of you know, and I just want to thank you all for kind of paying attention on that. Our numbers didn't drop off that much from the 12 o'clock live to the 11 o'clock hour. So thank you so much. I'm just reading up here on the one of the monitors that the New York City Mayor Adams is going to use Randall's Island for migrants. I'm not familiar with Randall's Island. I don't know what kind of facility that is. They have over 100,000 and counting asylum seekers in New York. And finally, you have a big city mayor saying, immigration issue is a problem. Is a problem. And it's a national problem. The mindset that all the asylum seekers and migrants should stay in small border towns, which don't have the capacity at all to deal with it, is not only unfair, it's disrespectful to those border towns. If we're going to have these open border policies, everybody has to deal with it. The upside, if there is one. And there's a lot of good people that migrate here, but it doesn't take many to get involved in crime to traumatize a city. And there's a way to, I wouldn't say ensure that you don't get the undesirables that come across, but you can greatly reduce the amount. And the one that you're able to catch might be the one that doesn't commit violent acts on you or your family or somebody that you know. You got to think of it like that. I'm all for immigration, orderly immigration, and we know who people are. Asylum seekers, absolutely. You're threatened at home for your safety. In reality, we want to be the home for you. But there's so many people coming in under that guise that simply want to come here, go to places like New York. They're not being forced to go there. They just know that city, along with San Francisco and Chicago, have some of the most liberal giveaway policies to people who really don't desire to work. And they know about that. It's a global, this thing here goes everywhere.
Ready.
What did you just laugh at?
John Catsimatidis. He is the, you know about him?
No.
He started working at a grocery store. He's a billionaire now. Started working at the grocery store. He's a bag boy. Bought the grocery store.
Wow.
And his latest investment.
Wow.
Yeah, his latest.
Little flaming hot Cheeto type deal.
Oh, yeah. And his latest investment is Red Apple Radio Network.
Radio. He believes in radio.
Oh, yeah.
Coach
yeah.
John.
He bought WABC.
Does he have a nickname for his life? Like the Cats Man?
Yeah, Cats Man.
Is it?
I think, yeah. And he has his own radio show on the weekend.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get him on the network.
Yeah, I need to.
Yeah, but who you kick off? You can't kick Franklin off. Let me tell you, Jim Franklin, folks, has been in fuego. 3 o'clock here on KXEX.
Who can we kick off?
No. Huh? What are you looking at?
No, John, not you.
You can't kick me off. I quit.
We're not on the weekend.
I've been kicked off of better stations than this.
We're not kicking you off on the weekend.
Alan, can you come in and see me after the can I come in after the show? Well, no, can you come in before?
Oh, man.
About an hour before the
30th
show.
floor is calling, Alan.
You act like I've never been cut from the football team or my series canceled.
I saw no, I'm not going to say it.
Why?
I saw a cut on the Green Bay Packers of a quarterback, I guess, right now. And I was going to.
You mean got cut from the team?
Yeah.
Oh, they're cutting. That's tough.
Yeah.
The dreams you've been working for your whole life.
Are we talking about football? The
Snatch from you.
The Pack
No, I'm telling you. We'll talk about the Bulldogs
right.
here. We'll go through these other things here. Oh, God. See where Biden's in Arizona? Trying to convince all Arizonans that it gets hot during the summer.
But it's not as hot as it can.
No, it's hotter. It's global warming. You're going to go into Phoenix, Arizona, and Gila Bend, Arizona. Just want to let you guys know. I'm not kidding, man. It's hot here at Phoenix.
And that's why I'm running for United States Senate again.
I'm going to make it less hot. In the summer, you want it under 90? Vote for me. How do I do that? Bidenomics.
We're laughing.
That's part of Bidenomics. I can reduce the heat in Phoenix, Arizona. I can make it warmer in Green Bay, Wisconsin. You don't have to play in those snowstorms. Bidenomics.
I think Midwesterners would vote for that. I'm down with that.
Oh, you know what I hate? Domed stadiums. I hate them. Play out in the elements. If it's raining, it's snowing. That's part of the game. You get in that sterile dome. Although I wish they had one at Grizzly Stadium. It's too hot.
All right, here we go.
What do you keep pointing at?
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
What are you going to wait on? You don't have to. Our show's on right now. Don't have to wait till midnight hour. Wait. High noon, 12 noon.
We should put it on at midnight.
Tape delay.
Yeah.
So you got a chance to edit all this out, Jeremy. I don't think that's going to happen. You're going to put me on live all over Fresno.
Every time you say that, he's got to mark it and then go back and cut it.
All right, I'm in a better mood. I'm going to compartmentalize our last subject, our mayor, and all this stuff. I'm not going to put it away up on the shelf. Just warning you. But I'm going to compartmentalize and move over. All right, you got the latest on this COVID lab in Reedley, California, otherwise known as Wuhan West, California. What's the latest? That is a weird story that keeps getting weirder. They don't, to be uncovered, they don't seem whoever runs that lab, it's run by a couple of, I think, Chinese nationals, that, hey, we want to go to Fresno. We didn't want to be here anyway. Hey, boy, don't you know those councilmen are puckered up thinking they're going to come into my district? What councilman?
Wait till they get to your door. You're going to have...
oh, man, wouldn't you be one of councilmen wanting to have that lab in your district? You talk about political career over. You know?
It's frustrating because which small town, I think was it Parlier, they were literally holding candlelight vigils for a pot shop. They were protesting a pot shop. Like they did not want it in their city limits.
Yeah.
What do you think they would have done if it was a lab? If they're holding vigils to not have a pot shop there, do you think people would have wanted to know? Yeah, there's a lab. There's a medical lab with 1,000 mice and malaria, hepatitis A, C, COVID-19. So right now, apparently, the county is meeting, and they're going to apparently learn more details about the illegal lab found. This is one of those things that it's just going to get worse as the days go on, as the weeks go on. I think they're going to be some egregious actions by the county and the city. I think the original jolt and why we didn't have a lot of information and why they were saying, well, it was not airborne, public, you're fine. There was no threat. If there would have been a threat, we would have told you. I think a lot of that was a bunch of CYA. And we're going to find out just how extensive this is. And just, I would say this, and I don't know if maybe you agree with me or not, but I'm sure the information they give us is not the totality of the information.
Wouldn't the health department have permits that would have to be filled out in either Reedley or Fresno? That would have to be Reedley. I mean, where's the information? This is so weird. And even it's caught the attention of Kevin McCarthy and a lot of folks in Washington, D.C. The question is asked, is this the only lab? Are there these type of labs all over the country? But it's just weird as heck, guys.
So they're going to provide the timeline today, the timeline of everything. Basically, what who these people are, when they applied for it, what was granted, what inspections were done, when they found out, who found out, why they kept it secret, who was contacted. So
yeah, I mean, and I think it shows if this is somehow connected to the Chinese Communist Party, and there's no doubt that it is. I don't think you have Chinese nationalists operating in any type of fashion like this in right now it's kind of inexplicable circumstances that would operate free and independent. Uh, and it makes you to start thinking about things. If they feel so brazen that they can fly spy balloons all across the United States with impunity, if they can put spy bases in Cuba right off the shore of Florida, and then they put these type of laboratories in place, doesn't that tell you a lot, Guillermo, about their lack of concern about any kind of real retaliation by the United States?
Alan, these individuals are highly educated and they're very strategic. They know where to put these labs. They know that there's not going to be any consequences. Dan Walters put out an article yesterday on Cal Matters how this is just, there's no transparency going on. GV Wire, the good people over there, Bill McEwen, posed a couple of questions to the governor, and he even said, you know what? There's just zero transparency going on here. And so if the Communist Party is, because we still have to do our journalistic duty, if they are responsible for this, they know that there's zero transparency, that the government will have zero transparency with the American people. That's why they feel like they're so protected in all this.
And don't you think it gets back to this, that politicians, both sides of the aisle, are going to continue to be non-transparent until the public, the people of this country, start being interested enough and care enough to demand transparency. How do you demand it? By saying, we're not going to vote for you. You're not going to get out of the primary unless you run on transparency. You define what that means to you. And if I'm satisfied that you're transparent enough, then you may have a chance at my vote. But right now, you've got both sides covering for each other because a lack of transparency,
that happens,
being opaque as you could be, as long as it gets your agenda moved forward. And if you're transparent, you think it's going to hurt your ability, i.e., a real open, honest examination of the Hunter Biden case. If you wanted, if you were Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and Jill Biden, wouldn't you want an active, open investigation? You've got the Senate. You've been called on the carpet by the House, but you got the presidency. You've got the Senate to veto any nonsense that comes through. Wouldn't you want your name, your good name, cleared? You're not going. It's not a one-way street. It's not like you have a Republican president, Republican Senate, Republican House, to where you could conceivably be concerned that they could shove something through there that's not real. That they could, and they appoint the DOJ as a Republican appointee, Bill Barr as such. There's not that fear.
Yep.
Why would you resist a full and open investigation about what these shell companies really are? These 20 shell companies that were created to funnel the money from the Ukraine, from Russia, from China, and several other Eastern European countries. Why would you not want to have your day to stand up and say, hey, let me tell you what shell company number one, why it was created, what went through there. I'm going to have my accountant send all of the information because we did nothing wrong. We did not have pay for play. I'm insulted you would say that. It's probably the biggest threat to democracy that could happen, having a sitting vice president taking pay for play money. And I want to make sure that our name is cleared. Why wouldn't they be for that if they had nothing to hide?
They believe they're going to beat the system. That's why.
But my point is, does not give rise to suspicion?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, yeah.
I mean, what do they expect if you it's like when Trump withholds information from this and that. Give them the stinking information. Know what battles you want to fight.
That was an unforced
error. Show the documents. I know you're playing this thing. Hey, well, the president has the power to do this. I get all that. It's constitutional gray area of who owns those documents and who can declassify them, whether it's the National Archives or the presidency or whatever. But do you want to really politically make that an issue where they can clearly, hey, you just give them the documents?
Yeah, I agree. That was it was an unforced error. Now, I have my own theory on why he kept the documents. I think the documents, the ones that he kept, because he did hand some over. But why not these? I firmly believe that there's something in there that either he wants as proof to protect himself, or I think protect the American people. So I think that was his insurance policy. This man did not want to give them up when all of us are like, dude, you probably should have just handed them over. You have a copy machine. I'm not saying you should have done that, but
Yeah.
you want to take
the thing,
big tech spit.
The thing is, they're documents on anything that's on a piece of paper. Come on. Who you put in jeopardy on a piece of? If it goes to a piece of paper, that is so old school that you can go in, take a picture of it, and send it. I mean, plus the president knows in his head probably all that important sense, the big wow things.
Yeah.
Where the nuclear sites are, what the codes are, who's the top agents, who's this and that. They got it up in their head anyway.
I don't think they know the codes.
Well, the president would.
No.
Why?
You think it's one code that it's like your cell phone code, like ATM PIN code?
No, I've seen that phone. I saw it on Marlin Fitzwater when I visited the White House when George
Really?
H. Bush was president. Pretty awesome thing, man. I was like 3 feet from.
And what was the guy doing?
He had a handcuffed to his hand.
He's just there.
No, they're getting ready to get on a helicopter. George Bush. They invited us out. My daughter had watched it, him go off in the helicopter. And Marlin Fitzwater was there. He had the box. Because the Secret Service guy that was giving us the tour was right there next to him. He taps me on his shoulder. He says, you know what that is? I look down and picked up some black box case.
Yeah.
And I said, is that what I think it is? That's what you think it is. Do you notice anything else? Looking at it, I go, gosh, is that handcuffs? That's handcuffed to the box, so nobody can grab it from him and run with it. I mean, you're looking at that going.
I got some technical questions.
But
here.
you got there. You're going. That's the end of the world right there. That he's a walking, talking Oppenheimer, man.
Does that fire everything off at the same time?
It starts the process,
or just
it's the match that lights the flame. The call comes from the president. The launch orders has to come from the president. And then it goes through this whole process.
So it's a phone.
And then it finally gets down the way it was back in the old days. I think it still is. As it goes through this process, he calls because those nuclears, if Russia launches, you only have a few minutes before they're in New York City. So you don't have this long. That's why it's on edge. Why I'm so and go crazy on making nuclear weapons and eliminating as many of them as you can, because it could accidentally start something really bad. So what it does is he puts in the codes. It goes to someplace. But when it goes to the launch sites, like the silos in Montana, they got two dudes down there in the silo, two human. One of them has a gun on the side. The other one is responsible for if he gets the launch orders to push the button to launch. If he doesn't have the guts to do it, the guy with the gun is supposed to shoot him in the head and he launch him. Sounds pretty bizarre, doesn't it?
Man.
So does the COVID lab in Reedley. But it's true.
No kidding.
Isn't that wild?
That's wild.
I mean, when you think about that, you go, my gosh, we're just that sequence away from having, nuclear Armageddon. On that cheery note, we're going to take a little break and see if we can sell some fake grass from Sinlon.
The best grass. What are you talking about?
Will survive a nuclear attack, this thing grass.
It probably would.
It will, and still look as good before that hydrogen bomb went off.
They might be calling this room.
This is Alan Autry with Guillermo Moreno. We'll be right back. What do you keep? had to take this call, folks. It was I got it during the last segments. My wife was calling. I wanted to make sure everything was okay, and everything's okay. She's getting her hair done, and she's got my grandson Caden with her. Well, I love my grandkids, Caden and Joseph, and daughters Lauren and Heather, son Austin. Family is just. If you get a chance, watch The Family Stallone. It's a reality series, but dadgum, it's a good series. It's one of the best of that kind I have ever watched. I mean, they don't act like they're playing out for the camera. Just really a good show. It'll make you feel good. Sly Stallone, I was fortunate enough to do a scene with him on Tulsa King. They may have me back if I don't die before the strike's over. I don't kill over or him. He was just such a pleasant guy to be around, a normal, everyday guy. And just to see him interact with his daughters, and his wife, family, it's just really kind of neat. But it's on, I think it's Paramount Plus. You got to get the same. I'm just looking at these. I guess they had a brawl on the Alabama dock. A fight in Alabama. How unusual. Do a 4-minute segment, whatever you want. Are we back now? First down, Green Bay.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Alan Autry No Retreat. Did you hear about that youth mob out in New York? I guess this influencer, Kai something, he's got 8 million followers.
I need to be an influencer.
Yeah, an influencer.
I influence.
I check influencer. Right? Yeah. There's a lot of money in that.
That's a profession.
There's a lot of money in that.
Some kids, young ones, you ask them what they want to be, they're starting to say
They
influencer.
want to be a social media influencer, no doubt. But anyway, this guy, I think he's 21 years old, big following, 10 million people. And he said, meet me at Union Square in New York. I'm going to give away PlayStations. Well, that's all he needed to say. Thousands of young kids, all of them look to be well under 18 years old, descend on Union Square. But surprise, surprise, Kai didn't bring his PlayStations. None. So they didn't like that. They started pelting police. Of course, that's what you do. When an influencer lies to you,
what a jerk.
You hit a policeman, right?
Yeah.
Of course, that's what you do. That's why you were raised to do. You don't get what you want, go find the nearest cop and hit him in the head with a rock, right? That's the American way. That's justice. Don't go after the guy who lied to you. But anyway, it's all over social media. It's all over the news. But I was looking at this, and I'm thinking, man, wow. And I got a little upset. I had gum look at those kids, acting that way. And then I started thinking, how sad. Because all of those kids, thousands of kids there, and Guillermo, you take a look at it. They're 13, 14, maybe 12 years old, these kids. And none of them seem to have any concern that their mother and father would see them out there doing this. And they know it's all over. They see the TV cameras and everything. I guarantee you, because I work with at-risk kids, over 80% of those kids do not have a father in their home. Okay? And when somebody talks about fatherlessness being the biggest threat to the stability of this country, we need to take that serious because we see it right there. That was just a little microcosm of it. And I'm thinking to myself, these kids have no, number one, regard for the law. They've been taught that. They have no fear of any repercussions of their actions. They're in broken homes, and the statistics, the math will tell you as well, and it's sad, that over 50% of those kids out there on that street, if they are fatherless, and I believe many of them are, or the father's not around, doing what a father's supposed to do, bringing discipline to the family, that over 50% of them will wind up incarcerated because society will get back to prosecuting violent criminals.
But can I say something too? Because
Go ahead, thank you. We got a minute 30.
I never met my father. My mom. By the way, happy birthday, Mom! It's her birthday today. Yeah, it's her birthday today.
Oh,
Mom's birthday!
Happy birthday!
So, one strong woman. You don't need a man.
Yes.
One strong woman with a belt. And my mom always hates it when I say, "They think I beat you when you were younger."
No, we don't, Mama.
That's all right. That was the correction stick.
I got 4 of them. I'm thankful for all 4.
That's all you got hit with, just 4 times?
No, 4 separate occasions that I got spanked.
That's not bad.
I'm thankful for it. How many did you get?
You talk to a Latino, they're in the 400s.
Well, you don't sass your mama.
Yeah,
that's what we call it in the South. You
talk
sass
to a
mama.
the Latinas, I think, sass way more. So I think my sisters are like in the thousands. But anyhow, I digress. My mom's really going to get mad at me.
No, you done good, Mom. You done good with this young man right here.
But strong, any could be a grandma, could be an aunt, could be an uncle. We just got to teach responsibility. We just got to be there. Have dinner with your family.
But you didn't have, and I didn't. I don't think you didn't have influencers. You're on this here, right here, telling you, because this guy Kai told him, go to Union Square. Let's go rock it. Let's go tear it up. Basically, that's why they arrested him for inciting a riot.
Good,
but we didn't have that coming at us. These kids, these influencers, take them serious. What your kids watching? Because he could be listening to stuff and storing it up in that young little teenage child brain there that could be very, very hurtful to him. Guillermo, thank you so much.
Anytime.
God bless you. God bless America. Just do your best. Let God do the rest, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye-bye now.